Today we're going to do a bit of a like a packing test. We did something a while back where we packed up some paint and smashed the boxes and tried to see what was going to work. Today though, we're going to take kits and actually play with some of the methods that we use for packing. We're going to pack it, the kit the way that we would normally pack it, and then try a few alternative methods, because we see occasionally pictures online, people talk about how they've received kits from other places, things like that, and just kind of put it to the test and see if what we do makes sense. I think it does, but we'll kind of hopefully either prove that or at least determine why we do things the way we do it. So what we're going to do is take we use this because we got a bunch of these in stock. We're going to take several of these Esposito beta kits, and we're going to pack them up and do some crush tests and some drop tests and see what happens. If you want one of the kits that we used in the test though, make sure you post down in the comments, do your best kind of caption for the whole video in general, and we're going to pick the best ones, and we will send whatever is left of these kits at the end to the people we select as winners. First up, we've got kind of how we normally would pack one of these. It's going in the box. It's actually a little bit shallow for the box, which will be interesting. We've played with occasionally adding a little bit extra padding, but these boxes are so tough that I think they tend to do pretty well regardless. We're going to overpack this one, or what I think is overpacking it, and probably won't necessarily help that much, but we shall see. Let's put some underneath it too. I think in theory this should be better, but so I think the wisdom would be that should be better because it's not near the outside. I'm not sure that that's actually going to hold true. I think that's why some places pack with all sorts of padding all around them. That's B. Last one, we use one of these boxes. This is a little oversized.
That's how you put the paper, right? That's how you guys normally pack it.
This one, the first one, is how we normally would pack it. A is how we do it for this size. And the theory behind the method is that the structural integrity of the outer box depends a lot on what's inside of it. So the better the box fits, the kit itself kind of lends some support to the outer box, and vice versa. They play together nicely. The perfect box would be one that fits exactly, because it kind of works together to protect it. There's some reasons that won't necessarily always work depending on what happens. If you crush the outer box, the inner box is going to get damaged too, but it's less likely to get crushed in the first place or to get damaged. At least that's the theory we've been operating operating under. We use something like this. If we put padding all around it, this outer box, there's more give than the box. And the other thing is that the smaller the box, the less give the box has. It's just more cardboard, more surface area means more places for the box to deform. And we see anecdotally all the time, consistently, when we get a case of kits from a supplier and the box is perfectly filled and the outer box is sized appropriately, we get far less damage. It requires serious damage to the outer box. Whereas when things are packed more loosely, perhaps with paper or bubbles or whatever to occupy any voids that are in the box, usually that allows shifting of the contents, and then that causes more problems than the deformation of the outside of the box. So again, that's the theory. We'll find out. Hopefully it's conclusive, but it might not be. So I've seen this before online. Working that well. Yeah, we'll just throw a little more in there, just for grins. I think I could pad that really, really well, but a little more. Generally, I'll try to pad more than that, but give us something. I guess we'll see. Move around too much. I should have checked all four of these very carefully before they went in the box. Okay, so we got A, B, and C. So I think first we do a bit of a drop test. I think dropping from waist high is pretty reasonable. It's the place most people are carrying it. We're not usually carrying it way above our head or really low to the ground. So we'll drop it. We'll do like 5 times per box, and we'll crack them open. We'll inspect everything, see what shape things are in, and then we'll move on to the next test. So this is A, drop 1. Try to get to some of the corners as well. 5. So it's 5 drops of that one. B, drop 1. That was a good drop. And let's see. Expect them all to probably be fine after a drop like that. So we got A first. Let's see, we got a bad corner over there. So we might have got a tiny bit of deformation on the kit there. But otherwise it looks unscathed. Without having looked, like this would have passed our ding and dent check like 9 out of 10 times or better, but it was on the corner that it got the biggest little dent there on, so could have been caused by that. And this one will probably be fine in terms of drop. This one's maybe pristine. It probably was there before. So that one looks pristine. The other factor though to keep in mind is that this would drive our shipping cost way up because it costs more just because of the extra volume of the box. So it's a little bit of a false test in some ways. And this one looks to be pretty good on the outside. So I don't think there's any issues with that one. So as far as the drop test at waist high, more space around the outside means that it can use the padding around it. Things don't get transferred in as much. Okay, so test 2, let's do a crush test, which I think is in a lot of ways the more likely damage that occurs to boxes. Usually when we see boxes that are badly damaged, usually one side's accordioned in a little bit or something like that. So see if we can recreate that kind of damage. Our test will use a box, 8 reams of paper. Pretty realistic thing that might be in the back of a truck, and way too heavy for the other items. Shouldn't be stacked on top of it. Somebody stacks it accidentally, and represents kind of the same crushing force you might get if something gets smashed on a conveyor or something too. So we'll go with the first one. We'll go just from like knee high and drop on there a little bit from that side. Maybe a tiny bit of deformation that way. We'll do 3 sides from the same height. Oh, this is scary. There we go. Now we got a little bit of accordioning on the sides of the boxes. That's kind of what we see a lot of times in pictures when people send images of damaged boxes and stuff. So let's replicate that with the other 2. That one already looks like it was crushed more. Ugh. Tape cracked over here. This one's not going to do well. That one hurt me. Probably looks painful. So this one, even more so. And you could probably see in the footage the whole thing kind of crushing inwards, I imagine. So, and we'll repeat that for box C, which will probably look similar, maybe worse. So this one here. Oh, that didn't sound good. This one, both top and bottom cracked. Yeah, and even more accordioning on this one. Accordioning. So more crack tape. So let's open these now that we've done something a lot worse to them. And this is where our method will probably win over the other ones. Probably. So this one took some damage. I mean, we did some nasty stuff to it. So I'd kind of expect it to take some damage like that. Usually when we see pictures and everything's kind of crunched, stuff happens. We've got a good crease there and over there, but this went from being a clean box to being like a ding and dent box, I think. Oh, you can tell already how bad that is. There's a decent depending on how the runner is pushed around. There could definitely be runner damage on that one. And then we got our, see, this is just the paper. This one's going to be bad, I think. Interesting. No, I guess I was mostly wrong. There's a slight crease here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, a little.
I'm pretty sure it's new. And that might have been because there was so little in the box that the outer pressure didn't transfer to the inside, actually. It's interesting. We do one other test, maybe. So kind of reset this. Like there is a ton of give. And that give is what protects the kit, right? So that way when the outer box crushes, the internal stuff doesn't get crushed.
Right.
The problem is that things can move around, and if it crushes the right way, it can go through. The problem with B is it was so tightly padded in there, and this is why just bubble wrapping doesn't necessarily solve your problems all the time, is that we had so much padding in here that everything just barely fit. So any push on the outside is a push on the box inside, because unless these pop, and these can take quite a bit of force without popping. Like that took a lot of work to get it to pop. So if they popped easily, they would protect it, but because they don't, they provide padding for them to bounce around a little bit and help give you structural integrity. They don't prevent things from pushing in on the internal box. And so how this usually ends up going is that because this box should be sturdier because it's smaller, it takes more of the brunt of the impact itself. But so if we were to take this and do like a quick shake test on it, like there's not a lot that can happen because it has nowhere to go. Like I would be totally surprised if that would add more damage to it. This one is probably beautiful on a shake test because there's nowhere for the kit to go at all. But now if we take this one, I'm gonna make sure I do due diligence to repack it the way we had it packed. This one, I could see being able to, this is the one that's basically undamaged. Do this with safety goggles on. It's possible to get that one to move more, which is probably still mostly fine. Interesting. This kit's nearly pristine. Maybe that's the way to pack them out. The difference, though, what it really comes down to, in this example, for example, is that this one costs us around $9 to ship, and this one costs around $11 to ship in this box because of the size. one more test. We'll drop from up high. I don't know, gunpla kit in the top of your truck somewhere. I mean, okay, one more. Look at the runners real quick too on some of these. Yeah, nothing new, still the same. Oh, this is a really, like, internally, a lot of void in the box for this one, so those are fine. Still just as bad as it was. Oh yeah, that didn't do anything extra to it. I think that one's mostly okay too. Looks like this part of the runner might have bent upwards a little bit, but I don't think there's any damage to the pieces, surprisingly. And this one is probably still fine. If money is no object, that's apparently the way to do it. Or at least on a one-off basis. We'll have to look at the trade-offs for that in a little more depth. Yeah, that's all going to be fine because the box is fine. Cool. I'm not sure what else to do other than to ponder what that means, if I should change methods or not. It does look like the cost to ship this box with this kit is higher than the cost to ship this one, at least to certain places. And really close, within I don't know how many hundreds of miles or thousands of miles, they're about the same. And once you get past a certain threshold, the cost of this goes up. And that, I think, is the ultimate driver, where this is good enough in that the amount of times someone reports that that one is damaged, I'd rather deal with the UPS insurance claim than have that added cost, I think, for the amount of times that I've actually seen those damaged. And then the other major factor is the type of box. We see more damage, I think, on really big boxes than small boxes. So maybe when we do a part 2 and smash some Sotheby's or something. All right, so I wanted to add a little bit of context after all that. I went back and watched it and kind of realized that we probably didn't talk about everything that could have been talked about. And I think the biggest takeaway is that the results are probably inconclusive. We need to do more testing to figure out if anything does need to change. I have concerns that, if this method of using paper, for example, might be the best case in an ideal environment, and maybe we just hit a sweet spot, and if the amount of paper, too much paper, too little paper, too much space, too little space, might cause more damage than we saw, or or what have you. It might have been just a random chance that it worked out. And so I really want to test that because there is added cost to shipping in a larger box usually, and things like that. So I want to test all that stuff out. So we'll likely do some more tests. I think the one thing that we can say conclusively is that bubbles, at least the ones that we're using on all sides, create, they don't pop easily enough, and they just transfer all the pressure in, and therefore aren't really very good. So expect a video in the future. We'll probably go back and do another round of testing, try to figure out how to measure and eliminate some of these variables, and yeah, we'll hopefully figure out if there is a better way or if what we're doing makes the most sense. Thank you for watching. Post a comment down below with your, well, I guess anything really. Comment your caption to this video, so to speak, and we'll choose some winners, and you might win one of these kits. If you're lucky, it'll be the one that's not damaged.